Women doctors, we hear you. We know your struggles. We know what it's like to be a female doctor in this dominant world. And guess what? Dr. Summer Casmel and myself teamed up together and created Women Dentists Connect. We wanted to create a safe, educational, and inspirational place to come and ask those crazy questions that you don't want to ask. We know that being a female doctor is different than it is for male doctors. You just have different issues, different questions, different concerns. So Dr. Summer Casmel and I are actually hosting a live event in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona on October 11th and 12th. This is for women doctors and their teams. We're talking business. We're talking issues that female doctors face. We're talking team breakouts, how to really rally your team. And we're giving you hundreds of tangibles that you can take home and implement Monday morning. We're also having an amazing lineup of speakers where you'll actually get CE for attending. So come on in. We can't wait to see you. We only have a handful of people that we're allowing in. So run on over to womendentistsconnect.com. Use the coupon code podcast to get the Dental 18 family coupon. Guys, I cannot wait. I would love to see you there. I'd love to connect with you, learn from you, and share. So hop on over Women Dentists Connect. I can't wait to see you in October. Hey everyone, welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. We're your hosts, Kiera Dent
and Dr. Mark Costas.
Mark and I had this crazy idea that maybe we could combine a dentist and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. And Dental 18 podcast was created.
I'm a practicing dentist, a multiple practice owner, a dental performance coach, and the founder of the Dental Success Institute.
I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, current practice owner, and international dental consultant. Mark and I don't just understand you, we are you.
Our goal is to positively impact the world of dentistry by sharing our lessons learned from the road in hundreds of dental offices.
Two perspectives, one mission, to help dental professionals reach their full potential. Welcome to the Dental 18 podcast. Hello, Dental 18 listeners. This is Kiera Dent, and I am excited because this is one of my good friends, and we didn't know each other. I have consulted in their office. I met her, I want to say about 2 years ago. Office manager, incredible practice. In the time that I've known her, she's been able to help the practice grow so much that they bought a second location. I swear that they're going to get a third and a fourth and a fifth within the year, but she'll probably die if that happens. But she's awesome. And she also comes from no dental background. So she's had to take all this in with stride. One of my best friends. Welcome to the show, Ashley from Sandpoint, Idaho. How are you today, Ashley?
Hi, I'm good.
Good.
Doing well.
Yeah, you are the awesome office manager of Dr. Ben Hull in Sandpoint, Idaho, which, by the way, does have a creepy video on, I think I watched it on Netflix, of this murder that ended up really happening there. So I was terrified to go to Sandpoint, Idaho, but I'll be honest, it is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to in my whole life.
We show people that so it stays less crowded.
Brilliant tactics over there. But you and I met, was it really 2 years ago that I met you in your practice consulting?
It might have been almost 3.
Oh, time flies. Time flies. So, and I remember first time meeting you, you guys have this awesome practice. Except for, let's be honest, let's not sugarcoat this. My first visit to your practice was really, really epic. Do you remember that first visit?
It was a little scary. We didn't give you the warmest welcome probably, but we warmed up day 2.
Day 2. Do you remember morning huddle? My first visit.
Yes.
Epic.
I'm glad we had patients still there after that because we got a little loud.
It did. So we'll just fill you in. I went into the office, and I think being in small towns, you've got different employees that are there, different personalities. I could have probably presented differently, but it was an office that was not afraid to tell me their feelings, and it was at morning huddle. And I remember looking at all of us thinking, whoa, we're on a really negative foot right now, and we cannot start our day like this. So we're going to solve this right now. And patients were out waiting. And it was, I think it's fun to look back of where we were 3 years ago. And now look at you, incredible office manager, multiple locations. So Ashley, I have taken the show from you. Tell us kind of your story of how you got into dental and where you are now.
I kind of fell into it. I hadn't been in Sandpoint very long and came from a customer service background and retail, and ironically a journalism major. But
you guys should see her notebooks. They are the most pretty, well-written. Her planner, you guys, you can tell she's journalism because it is her font, like her handwriting it looks like it should be on a computer. It's amazing.
Except for this week, I'm running low on sleep and I've been misspelling stuff left and right. So it's been great.
Perfect. Okay.
But yeah. And just kind of, I was here with the previous owner and just front office, and kind of over the last almost 6 years, I guess, we've grown a ton. Our team's grown a lot, both in numbers and our personalities, and learning how to work with each other and just learning more about ourselves. So it's been a really good time.
Yeah. And so remind me, did you work with the doctor before it sold to Dr. Hull?
Yes.
Okay.
I was there about 2 years prior.
Okay. So you did the whole transition. Let's actually talk about that. How was a transition? Office manager at the time with the other prior doctor. Is that correct?
I was technically just front office, but doing a lot of those tasks kind of naturally because
sure.
I sometimes was the only one there.
Mm-hmm.
So the transition, I grew into that role just because we had to gather a lot of information for that sale and transition. Mm-hmm. So just kind of naturally fell into that. Going from coworker with a lot of my team to manager was a little rough for a while, but I think
sure.
we're at a good spot.
Well, it's actually, I want to dive into that because this
sure.
happens all the time. Like they get promoted, and then how do you go? How did it work for you to go? And I've never asked you this, so this is really, I'm genuinely interested because you did transition from coworker to manager. How did you navigate that gap? What things were hard for you? What things did you learn? What things, like, kind of just go through that with me, so other people, because this, Ashley, is so key that I see so often, and people are like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to go from coworker to manager and not have them think I'm a jerk and I'm still their friend. And it's like all those sticky spots. So how was that for you?
Yeah, I think looking back, it definitely could have been better. Having clear roles and responsibilities is something that we've tried to hammer out a little bit over the last couple of years, and not having that really at the start, and not that you want to like announce I'm the manager, but knowing who's responsible for what and who you report to, I think super important, because it's definitely was more challenging when it wasn't. I'm more of a person that you might have to tell me what I'm not supposed to be doing instead of what I'm supposed to be doing. So if there's something that's out of like my jurisdiction, better tell me up front. Otherwise I will just do whatever needs to get done. Sure. So when we transitioned to this second location, just asking kind of for that up front, like what my role is, what my relationship with the new team is, having that as clear as you can definitely helps.
From your doctor, right? Because they're the supporting ones. They're the ones that are directing it. You've got to know. And also, what are their expectations of you? And you also transitioned, like that is a sticky spot. So you went from coworker to office manager with a new doctor who probably, like, let's be real, Dr. Hull's awesome, but most doctors, when they take over, like they're buying a practice, they don't even really know a lot of times what they want their office manager to do. They just say like, be the office manager, just do that job. And that probably was a reason for that transition being even harder for you, possibly, of not even having the doctor know what you needed to be doing. So then your team could be there as well. Like lots of confusion in there for you.
Correct. We spent a lot of time just kind of typing up what everyone was currently doing and where their biggest value was in the office, and then finding where we had overlap and trying to map that out, making sure everyone has something they're responsible for, because if everyone's responsible, that old saying, then no one really does it.
Right, exactly.
Story
if we're all
of my
doing
life.
the same thing, no one's doing anything. Perfect. Love it. Okay, so that was a sticky thing. What did you do? with your team members that were coworkers, like, did that transition just naturally evolve? Did you have to have any hard conversations with them? How did that evolve from coworker to manager over the course of the last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, however long it's been? How did that evolve for you?
I think more being the point person on some different projects or scheduling or problem solving, that started coming through a little bit more. We also started doing one-on-ones, me and a team member every month. And that was where we could kind of still have those natural conversations like we had been having, but also, okay, here's the responsibilities, check in, how are we doing? And also have those hard conversations if we needed to. What's not working? Any personality conflicts. We had a lot of that in our office for a little while. I'm so proud of our team. We've done a lot better from where we were, and we still have the whole team, which I think is huge, because sometimes you weed that out by losing people or transition, and that's not the case. We're all still here and just really working well together.
Which I am really proud of as well, because I've watched you guys morph and evolve, and I've also watched you morph and evolve as an office manager and a leader. And so I love your take on it. And my spin on the other side, not being a team member, has been I watched you grow into that leader role. And I do think your one-on-ones. I remember a call where you said, Kiera, I can't get them to change. I can't get them to connect with me. I'm not sure what to do. And I know we tried a couple different angles, and I give you massive props for utilizing me as a coach and a resource for you. But then you stuck to your guns. You were saying, hey guys, we're here. We're all here. And I feel your team has done a phenomenal job. The last time I went in, I thought, wow, you guys improved culture. You improved production. You've improved growth. There were so many pieces. And I always say, an office is a direct reflection of the leader. And so for you, I've watched you from an outside perspective of really morphing into that leader role. And I think the way you've done it from my angle has been, I think, getting very clearly defined on what your job is and what you need to hold them accountable to, getting your team to buy in with you, and then holding them accountable to what happens. And I know you had a lot of negative, a lot of pushback. And at the beginning, I watched you more almost, I wouldn't say teeter-totter, but you weren't as firm of, no guys, I know this is sticky. Let's talk through the problems. But at the end of the day, we're doing this, and I'm going to make your life as easy as possible. But at the same time, this is in the betterment of the practice. How are we going to do this and make your lives easy? And I've watched you do a really, really good job of navigating that. And they know they can trust you, they can depend on you, and you're always there. So I would say from my angle, that's how I kind of watched you morph and evolve as well over the course of time of knowing you.
Thanks. Yeah. We still have, it's always a work in progress, but we were chatting a little earlier about how I love personality tests because I'm a dork like that. And
I don't think you're a dork. I love them too. I'll take them any day of the week. Let me find out who I am. I want to know. I think they're fun.
They are. And I will take one 7 times on different types to make sure I really am that type. And I did that, and I was the same personality type for about 2 years when we were doing it, and I just took it recently, totally different. Nice. And I think it's dead on. I'm definitely more decisive. I used to be a pretty indecisive person, but I think anytime you're working with a team to walk through and explain, people want to know the why and why are we doing this? Am I just doing a checklist because this seems like busy work? But showing the pros and the cons and what happens when we don't, and as our team's growing, I think we're seeing a little bit more of where that fits in, because we're trading out positions a lot more. So it's not the same people every day. And the value of having a system in place is huge. And we can actually see how that works now.
But that's hard. That's super hard when you are the leader of you guys have, let's think, you have 2 for an office, and yourself included would be 3 for an office. You have 2 dental assistants, 2 hygienists, and a doctor. That was your original practice before you guys expanded to another one. And it's tricky, but Ashley, I give you massive props. And I think you guys should take this on of, you never gave up. those end of day checklists and those checklists because you could see where the vision was going. You knew you guys would be expanding at some point. You knew that that's where you'd be going. And so you had to get these systems in place and followed and stayed accountable. You don't give up. Like you, even when they're like, oh, where's your checklist? Nope, we're not letting this go. And I think that that's helped you evolve into this amazing leader that you are today to really stay strong. And I love that you watched yourself morph because some people won't hold strong. They're like, well, it's fine. But now for your team to see like, okay, I get why Ashley made us do these checklists. As silly as they seemed, as much as we don't want to wipe it off every day, you like, you were the one that told me that they would just like leave the checklist like check marked off and then sign their names and just keep doing that. Like you found all their little loopholes of what they would be doing. Yeah. Like all the
I was on to the secrets.
you caught on to their little trick.
Quick secret.
But I love that you did that because now, like you said, this has morphed into how you've been able to expand. And I think it's important because sometimes as office managers, as leaders, as team leads, as team members, we sometimes think these systems are dumb because we don't see the value of them. But the bigger picture is where it's at. And those accountability pieces are so paramount. So Ashley, nice job on that. I give massive props, guys. Hold strong. Ashley, I'm sure you weren't the most loved person all the time. It was probably...
No.
I know.
Don't go ask everyone even now.
How do we feel about those checklists? But you did a really good job of holding strong. So I actually want to go into that because now you're on to practice number 2. You guys, when did you get the second practice? What was the time frame?
Almost a year ago, exactly.
Okay. And it's in another state, so we won't talk about that.
That was fun. We're really close to Washington, and it was a pretty quick from my end of everything going through, and silly me didn't realize we were talking about right over the border. Learned a lot about Washington laws and rules. There's a whole lot over there. Not as bad as California, but a whole lot.
But yeah, it was a change for you.
Yeah, and that we did a open dental transition at both practices pretty much in the same 2 weeks. So it was a crazy summer. But we were all pretty surprised how well the stuff got implemented. Everyone took a little chunk. And so for those of you who don't think a transition of software is in your future, it might be. It's not that bad.
You were terrified. I think we spent a whole visit like mapping out how do we do this? How do we transition? It was a big feat, but
it wasn't that bad though, turns out.
No, I think it's the anticipation and the fear leading up to it as opposed to actually going through it was, at least in my experience, it tends to be the case. But you did a great job planning for it as well, which probably helped it be smoother.
Yeah, we did a lot. We rolled it out at our main practice and then transitioned the new practice about 2 weeks later. They went from paper to digital to new software.
No big deal. Together. They're
fine. New boss, new doctor. They did everything. But I think giving them a clear picture of what to anticipate and what to expect and the tools for that, and just having a resource like to call me or to call our front office if they had questions, I think went a long way. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about how we can't believe it's been a year. They've grown very quickly. Just hired a second front office over there, and yeah, it's been fun. They've grown really quick, and I'm proud of how far they've come from a year ago. It's crazy.
I totally agree. And I watched you do really well of taking the systems you had in practice 1, take them right over to practice 2. And although practice 2 is not the same as practice 1, I've been to both of them. They are different demographics, but the system still stayed the same. And I thought you did a really phenomenal job because you also took your team as second practice and had them go to the first practice, have them kind of rotate through, see how it's being done at the first practice, gave them a lot of resources. So they felt really supported. But then I do want to like swap gears on you because I want to dive more into your personality testing because we were talking about this and you have some real strong personalities in both of your practices. You have people that, have grown so much, exponentially growth. You have some challenging team members that have grown that are not as challenging, and I'm so proud of them. But like that was a change. And so before we got on the podcast, you had talked about some things you do differently or things you change or things that you've learned. And you talked about personality testing. And I want you to talk about how you've done this, how it's helped you, and kind of just the process for offices that are looking to do this. So let's dork out on our love for personality testing and give some nuggets on how we've done that.
Yeah, we are just doing it in our new practice. I wanted to do it a while ago, and then the year went by. I don't know what happened. We've just used kind of some of the free resources like the Myers-Briggs tests. I haven't gone all out and gotten like the full version, but I had each of the team members take it, doctors too. And then we did a printout and then like a one-on-one following up with that. I didn't make them share with the team if they didn't want to. But go through and highlight, yes, this is definitely me. Like I resonate with this dead on. And the parts that they didn't really agree with, not that they might not be true, they might just not agree with them. I learned that.
That's very true.
Because we're learning about ourselves. That's the whole point. And there's some really cool resources if you just search for managing those different personality types and how people learn best, how they take criticism or appreciation the best, which I read mine the first time. I was like, no, that's silly. I do not get rewarded by having more responsibility. And then I was like, you know what? That's true. It's weird, but it's true.
Let's look at your planner from 3 years ago to today. I think it's very true, actually.
So, learning how to best be a cheerleader for each person in the office. And we also learned that the people that have the most conflict are also the people who have the same personality type. So I think everyone took away something. We'll probably do it a little bit more often than what we had, but it's really good for the doctors too, because they're the only guys in the practice, surrounded by all of us crazy ladies sometimes, and to slow down and see like how people feel the most connected and appreciated, I think is huge.
For sure. And I am big on efficiency. I think a lot of us in dentistry, we obsess on efficiency. How can we do things faster, better, more financially affordable? What do we do to be the most efficient? And it's crazy, but I feel that knowing people's personalities and knowing how they receive praise, how they can take criticism, that is the most efficient way, because we as human beings will naturally do what we like. So I am very much of gifts and words of affirmation. So if you look at my team, they're constantly getting little trinkets. I'm always giving them praise in all their emails. But the reality is, for some people, that means nothing to them. Absolutely nothing. And the way I'm going to talk to you about how we need to improve, I do it how I like to have it done. But the bottom line is, it's not as efficient as knowing exactly how they want to hear it, what's best for them, and then really maximizing their strengths. Because I think it can also helping them to see that awareness. It's crazy because, and you're right, Ashley, I think it should be done at least twice a year, because I took one, I took one probably back in probably about a year ago. And we do morph, we do change, we do evolve, and I think also it heightens the awareness of people, but also as managers and leaders and doctors, it reminds us and it puts it back into the forefront of our mind, like, oh yeah, this is how they like to do it. So we can even calibrate ourselves better and grow ourselves in managing these people.
Yeah, it's huge. And I was really stuck on, okay, these are the tasks that we need done in the office, and dividing them up by just who I thought should have what, not who enjoyed and who did the best at what. And at our second practice, we have some back office girls that love to make phone calls, love to cold call people, which is like my worst nightmare, honestly.
Same. I don't enjoy that at all. So,
and just had always thought more of a front office task, because that's where the phones are. But why make somebody suffer through making those calls that doesn't like to do it, which probably isn't the best person to do it, and give it to whoever like really enjoys it, to try to think outside of the box, which reminds me I still need to get more phone lines over there. So yeah.
There we go. Add that to the planner. Don't forget to do this. But no, I love that because it's maximizing people's strengths. It's avoiding, and it doesn't mean you will automatically take away responsibilities from somebody just because they don't enjoy doing it.
Correct. Yes.
But if there are people that love to do it and people that will excel and shine at it, and you can find a way to, like you said, think outside the box. It's not super common to have the back office team calling, but that's a really great way. And if it works for your practice and you get better patients in there, why are we making calls? What is the point? For our quota? No, it's to get patients in. Like, okay, here's the quota.
Fill the checklist.
Exactly. Make Ashley happy. Fill this checklist in. But no, I love that you were humble enough and also brilliant enough to say, let's do this personality testing, and also let's capitalize and maximize what people love to do, where their strengths are. So at the end of the day, we all work more, we're working smarter, not harder at the end of the day, which I think all of us want to do anyway as a practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do know Summer Caswell and I talk about this one, the Colby test. That one does cost money, but I did appreciate that test because so for Summer in her practice, her office manager is Debbie, and Debbie is phenomenal. She's not a quick start. If you guys know Dr. Summer and myself, we are quick starts. Like, I don't want to do the research for it. Just they don't bog me down with the details. Just give me the bullet points. I don't care about the details. I just need to be able to make a decision quickly. And it's crazy because we will naturally bring people in, or our right-hand people need to have more details. And so when we get frustrated that they're not quick starts with us, figuring that out, the Colby test was very enlightening. So Ashley, you might enjoy that one. It is a little bit on the pricey side. So maybe you can, talk your doctors into that.
All right.
But I agree. The Myers-Briggs, there's the disc profiling, and then the Colby test. What I loved about the Colby test is it really breaks down what percentage you are in each of these different categories, but then gives you, just like you were saying, how these people appreciate praise, how they like all their different skill sets. But I felt like it was very work guided as opposed to more personality. It was very specific to work, I felt, more so than others. So maybe try out the Colby test. I liked it, but I do agree. If you're just starting, go for the Myers-Briggs, go for the disc. You will learn so much about these people. And then Ashley, I loved your point and your tip of research different ways to manage and to help these people with these different personality types. Because I think that takes it, we can get the knowledge, but what are you doing to execute and implement based on that information you're getting?
Yeah, I dug ours out this week. So going back and seeing how we've strayed off path, and like if we can correct anything that way, just showing a little bit more love.
Yeah, for sure. Because at the end of the day, a happy team is a happy life for all of us. So yes, keeping them happy. I believe that production and being a profitable, happy practice is a direct reflection also of a happy team. So you tend to increase your production when teams are happy, and people like to be busy. They like to be accountable. So good nuggets there, Ash. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Those are my wrap ups. I think you did a great job of talking about. So just as a recap, you guys know I love to give you tangibles. Ashley did a great job of sharing, that transition of going from from coworker to office manager and some of the things that you went through. So thank you for sharing that. I think all of you, get your doctors to give those clear expectations, to know what they're expecting of you. And then I would say your other nugget is stay strong to the systems, hold people accountable, because that elevates you as a leader in their eyes, but it also helps the team run more effectively. And then the third nugget you dropped, you were just full of them today, these personality tests and how to really maximize your team based on those. So those were my takeaways. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, or anything that I missed that you want to clarify before I let you go today?
I think that pretty much sums it up.
You are a rock star. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
Of course. All right, guys, this is Ashley. She is the incredible office manager for Dr. Hull in Sandpoint, Idaho. I hope you guys were able to resonate to see yourself in her story, because at the end of the day, the Dental A Team podcast is how we can all elevate ourselves to a better version of ourselves. So Ashley, thank you again. And Dental A Team listeners, thank you for joining us. And we'll catch you next time on the Dental A Team podcast. And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A Team podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.